All right, we're at 11:01, so I think we will get started. Today, we want to welcome all of our media members to the 2021 WCHA Preseason Media Day. I'm Jenna Jorgensen, Coordinator of Strategic Communications and Brand Enhancement here at the WCHA. We're happy you're here. Today, we'll have head coaches and student athletes from all member institutions on to preview the 21-22 season. Head coaches will open with a statement before taking questions limited to their 10-minute time slots. Each student athlete will then be available for 5 minutes. Media members are asked to join with their microphones muted and to utilize the raise hand Zoom feature to ask a question. In the order that hands are raised, media members will be selected to ask their question. And then we ask that you introduce yourself with your name and affiliation. So with that, we will get started with our Commissioner's Welcome by Jennifer Flowers. Commissioner.
All right, sorry about that. Trying to, get all the technology squared away. Thanks, Jenna. And officially, welcome to Jenna again as our new coordinator of strategic communications and brand enhancement. We're thrilled to have Jenna with us and look forward to all things coming from her area this season. So good morning, everyone, and good afternoon, I guess, to our friends on the East Coast. Thanks so much for joining us today for Media Day. For me, Media Day means one thing, and that means the season is about to get started. So we're 9 days away from dropping the puck on our 23rd season as the WCHA and our first season as an 8-team league since the 2016-2017 season, as we officially will welcome the University of St. Thomas to the WCHA and to conference competition as early as next weekend. Coming off of an unprecedented year last year, we're looking forward to what we hope is a more traditional season. We've got a full slate of conference games scheduled, as well as many outstanding non-conference matchups throughout the season. The WCHA certainly is poised and ready to make a run at our 19th national championship. Like I said, our season kicks off next weekend, and the regular season will culminate with the presentation of the Julianne By Cup the weekend of February 18th and 19th. All 8 of our teams will advance to the WCHA postseason. Quarterfinal rounds will be held on the campus of the higher seed the weekend of February 25th through the 27th. And then our 4 remaining teams will compete in the WCHA final face-off at Ritter Arena here in Minneapolis on March 5th and 6th. About 2 weeks ago, we announced a game-changing partnership with the Big Ten Network and B1G Plus to have them serve as our exclusive streaming partner. Games from all 8 of our institutions will be available on this outstanding platform. The exposure opportunities for our student athletes, as well as the availability and affordability for our dedicated fans, make this partnership incredibly valuable. It's something I'm very, very excited about and proud to be a part of. The partnership also will include 2 games live on Big Ten Network, which we look forward to announcing here in the very near future. As I start year 3 in this position, I feel incredibly blessed and I'm incredibly proud to lead this league. The commitment of our membership, our student athletes, the staffs, the officials, our staff here in the office, it's honestly inspiring. It's been a long year and a half or so, and I can say with certainty that I feel like we're very ready and we're prepared to safely play as many hockey games as we can, and we're very excited and looking forward to dropping the puck on our season next week.
With that, do we have any questions for Commissioner Flowers?
Am I going to get off the hook just like that?
Maybe. Oh, there we have one. Jess Myers is up first. Jess.
Hi, Commissioner. Jess Myers from the Rink Live. Last year, COVID is obviously still with us, but last year schedules were in flux. and you had to schedule for 7 teams. This year, 8 teams is generally easier to schedule, and it seems like more of a normal season ahead of us. Is it feel a lot easier for you, or like, a lot of the challenges are behind you that way?
I want to be optimistic in that and say yes, Jess. Thanks for the question. I think it feels, like I mentioned, a bit more, I hate the word normal, but a bit more traditional, a bit more what we've been accustomed to. Certainly, there were advantages, if you will, at times last year with 7 teams, and the ability to reschedule as, COVID forced us into a few of those things. That's not going to be an option for us this year. In fact, it's clear in our protocols for the year that if a game is not played specifically for COVID related reasons, it will not be rescheduled. We just don't have the same flexibility built in, and we do have full schedules. So it's a good and a bad thing, I guess, if you will. But, I think there's a true sense of maybe even muted excitement, because I think it does feel like we're going to be playing hockey in September, which we certainly weren't doing a year ago. So, I think we are looking forward to what we hope is a more normal season. And though I've told the coaches, administrators, myself daily that we have to continue to be flexible, because we just don't know what's going to come, and we'll be ready for whatever does come our way.
All right. Up next, we'll have Matt Wellens.
Hi, Jen. Matt Wellens from the Duluth News Tribune and Rink Live. Could you kind of run through some of the COVID protocols that the league is undertaking this year, and maybe expand on the scheduling? If a game's going to be canceled, if it's because of COVID-19, is it ruled a no contest? Does the team have to forfeit?
Yeah. Hi, Matt. How are you? Certainly. So, number one, from a, I think one of the big questions that coming out of last year was testing and things like that. But we will be following NCAA Sports Science Institute guidelines for our institutions, and that relates to both vaccinated and unvaccinated individuals. We will be everything. If a game is not played in the WCHA for any reason, it will be a no contest. And then if it is a COVID specific reason for not playing, it will not be rescheduled. If it is, something else, whether a travel hiccup or something like that, we will make every effort to try and reschedule. Again, not incredibly confident in that opportunity just because of how our schedules are laid out for this season, but that is the general plan. So no forfeiture in the WCHA, everything would be a no contest. I think those are the big things. Probably, are there other specifics, Matt, that you might want to know?
Yeah. Did the league, what was the messaging on vaccinations from the league? Because obviously that seems like the best way to prevent any cancellations and such. I know of at least one team here in Duluth that is 100% vaccinated. I'm wondering what kind of messaging the league, sent out to teams this year, and how that was addressed.
Yeah, so strongly encouraged is the language we've used the entire time, which I think mirrors a good portion of our institutions. We do have now 4 institutions who are as institutions mandating the vaccine. Overall, our vaccination rate as a league, student athletes, staff, personnel, et cetera, is very, very strong. So we feel like we are in a really, really good place. Like I mentioned, we're ready and prepared, we believe, to play safely as many hockey games as we can, and looking forward to that opportunity.
All right. And then I think we have time for just one more quick one. Nicole.
Hi, Jen. I just wanted to ask you a little bit about this being the first year as the women's only conference, any changes that you guys are experiencing, and just sort of the messaging going forward as a women's only hockey conference.
Hi, Nicole. Thanks for that question. Yeah, we're very excited, I guess. Obviously it's unique, and it's been a bit of an interesting challenge to get to this point. But I think the one thing that I hope that we're going to be doing our best at, and we've talked internally and externally about, is that we're just the WCHA, and we're not going to refer to ourselves anymore as the women's league of the WCHA or anything like that. We're trying to just step into that space and own it, as it is our brand now and our name. So from that perspective, that's probably the biggest thing, and just really trying to remain committed to building our brand and keeping the forefront of the best women's college hockey league in the country in the minds of everyone out there. So, structurally and from a staffing perspective internally, it's not been huge changes for us. We'll still be serving our membership in ways that we have previously, but just in an outward facing notion, we are the WCHA, and that it's just those 4 letters and those 4 words for us.
All right, many thanks to Commissioner Flowers. In order to stay on track for our time frame, we are now going to shift into our coaches and student athletes from our teams. So first up here today, we have first year head coach Joel Johnson from St. Thomas. Coach, would you like to open with a statement?
Yeah, thanks, Jenna. It's certainly a privilege to be a part of the WCHA, and as the University of St. Thomas moves into some new territory, going from Division III to Division I, we can't be more excited than to land in what I believe is the best college hockey conference around. So a lot of exciting times for us at St. Thomas right now, a lot of changes, a lot of moving parts. But we can't be more excited to get the season started in a week, and that's been fun to be on the ice. So some challenges for us, obviously, and with me as a new coach and getting to know players and a new staff and a lot of things that are going on. But we're up for the challenge and can't wait to get going.
Great. Do we have any questions for Coach Johnson? Shannon.
Shannon is actually me. This is Ryan Steve with the trip.
Oh, hi, Ryan.
the link wouldn't open on my laptop, so
We're happy you're here.
Joel, what has your experience been so far with this transition into Division I? How would you describe it from your perspective?
I would just say it's been a little blurry. A lot of things going on. From the first and foremost thing is for me is to try to get to know everybody and establish relationships. And that's been, I'd say, one of the things that's been the most enjoyable is getting to know new people. And, when things started in the late spring, early summer, obviously that the first priority was to try and get a great staff together. And so really happy with the staff we've put together, coaches and director of operations, and we're continuing to get to know one another and build a program. And now it's into the season, into the school year. And so now it's getting to know the players, and I can't say that I know all of them really well yet, but it's going to be a fun and exciting time. But that's why I describe it as a little blurry, just a lot going on and a lot of things that fill up every day.
Great. Next, we have Jess Myers.
So as you get closer to the season now, I'm just wondering how the balance is going to work out between the time you can spend with the team and your USA Hockey duties, and how much you're going to have your assistants behind the bench kind of running the team. What does that look like as you get a little closer now?
Yeah, Jess, the exciting part for me is there's the ability, because of our training situation, to kind of do fill both roles at the same time with our practice schedules. So as long as I'm not traveling with Team USA, then I'm looking forward to be here every day and on the ice and behind the bench. I think the interesting part is, we've got such a great coaching staff that whether I'm behind the bench for games or not, I don't see it changing how we communicate and the decisions that we make. And that was very intentional part of building our staff and how we run practices with that in mind, so that if and when I am absent for stretches of time, that the players don't really feel like anything's different. So certainly there's going to be some busy times as the national team starts to train in October and November and going forward. But right now I'm just enjoying the day at St. Thomas because it's an exciting time to be around here.
Great. Do we have any other questions for Coach? Ooh. Ryan, do you want to go ahead?
Joel, what are your goals for this season per se? A lot of coaches say, we want to make the NCAA tournament, we want to, those kind of things. But for you, this is your first year, St. Thomas first year in D1. Are there any different goals you have in mind?
I've shared with our team, and I've shared this before, the singular goal that I have for us on the ice is just to compete. And that looks different every day. It looks a certain way in practice on a Monday and then on a weekend playing a game. But I want us to compete. And, as we start to gauge our team and our comparisons to others, then we'll maybe have a little bit more clarity on what compete looks like on the scoreboard or in the win-loss column. But I think it's the one thing that I can remind our players and remind myself is if we're competing and living the right way on the ice and off the ice, then I'll be okay with that. So that's our goal to start. And then as we get a little bit more comfortable in knowing what our expectations could be, then we'll maybe put some other details to that.
Jean? Oh, wait, it's Jess.
Hi, Joel. It's Jess Myers from the Rink Live again. Obviously, a lot of ties between you and the other WCHA program here in the Twin Cities. Do you have that first game at Ritter circled on your calendar at all, or have you thought about how weird that's going to be for you walking into the opposing bench there?
I don't have that one circled. I've got next Friday at Ohio State circled. When we get the opportunity to play Minnesota, it's going to be great. I've got just such a great amount of respect and friendship with Brad and their whole coaching staff now. And obviously the players are a special part of my history and my involvement there. So I'll enjoy it. It'll look different. But I have so many great relationships with other coaches and other programs that I'm looking forward to going to Ohio State and then hosting Bemidji and then off and on we go through the rest of the season. So it'll be special when it happens. But right now my focus is on the next 2 weeks.
Anything else for Coach? All right. Is Lucy there with you?
Yep. Yeah. Well,
you guys switching? All right.
Chairs here. Thanks.
Sounds good. Thank you, Coach. With him, we have junior forward Lucy Bianchi. Lucy's from Bloomington, Minnesota. And last season, she had 5 points by 2 goals and 3 assists in St. Thomas's 8 games played. Do we have questions for Lucy? Ryan.
Hi, Lucy. What has been the most interesting part of this process for you going from Division III to Division I? Has anything stuck out to you the most?
So one difference, or a few, I guess, is that obviously like the workload is a lot higher and I have to find time to do homework at different times. It's just it's a big step up from D3, and I've also noticed the pace of our practice is a lot higher, and just it's an interesting thing to have transfers come and 5th years come, and just that whole dynamic and meeting new people, and just we attracted a lot of attention going from D3 to D1, so that's another piece that is a big difference.
Other questions for Lucy? I have one. How about, besides the transition from Division III to Division I, you're coming into the WCHA, which obviously has a really strong compete level and has a lot of national contenders. How do you guys approach that, or, just within league play?
I think that, a lot of us have always dreamed of going D1, like very common dream to have, playing hockey in Minnesota or anywhere, I guess. And so being able to go D1 in a backdoor way, which is awesome. And then coming to the WCHA, which has the best teams, I feel like, in the country. And so that we will just approach that with, I guess, grace, and we're going to compete very hard, and we're going to work really hard, and we're going to trust each other. We talked about being like trusted teammates, so really going to focus on that.
You also mentioned a lot of players coming in and transfers and things like that. How has the dynamic been within the team?
We're still getting to know each other, but everyone's getting along. We're working really hard at practice. Everyone's smiling, having a good time.
Good. That's what hockey's all about. Jess.
Hi, Lucy. Jess Myers from the Rink Live. What are the Tommies going to look like? You know, what kind of character is this team going to have? Is it going to be, you know, drop players back on the blue line and play defense, or is it more of an attacking mentality? Just what do you expect this team to look like on the ice?
I think we have players that have all different skill sets. I think we have a lot of speed. We have some girls who have good hands, good shots. I think we're really going to surprise people this year with what we have.
Ryan.
Lucy, with this, with the transition to D1 and this being the first season, is there any extra pressure on the players to maybe perform at an even higher level, or is it pretty much what it's always been?
I think we all know that we need to compete at a higher level, but I think other teams may expect they might expect us to play closer to a D3 level than what I know that we can do. I know that we're a D1 team. So I think we know what we need to do.
Do we have any other questions for Lucy and St. Thomas? I don't think so. Oh, Jess has one more.
Lucy, obviously in a poll like they conducted, somebody's got to be picked for 8th place, you know, and you being a new team, that's probably to be expected. But do you guys look at that and kind of take any inspiration from the fact that the expectations are low for your team?
Yes, there is some inspiration that Coach Johnson said something on, I think the first or second day, that comparison is the thief of joy. And so I don't think we need to compare ourselves to Wisconsin, who was chosen first, or anyone else in the conference. I think once we compare ourselves to others, then the tension goes away from our team and onto something else. So I think that, yes, there's a lot of inspiration with being picked last. I mean, it's fun being the underdog, and it's fun to surprise people.
That's great. And John Gilbert. Oh, almost there.
Been muted. Am I okay now?
Yep, you're all good now, John.
Okay, sorry about that.
All good.
I'm a slow learner. I just wondered, growing up in Bloomington, if you watched the Gophers women's team play much, and if you ever watched St. Thomas play much. Did you get to see those teams play?
Yes, so I did watch the Gophers growing up, and at Bloomington Jefferson, one of our coaches, Kelsey Klein, was a former Gopher. She went to Jefferson and then went to the Gophers. So I'm familiar with the Gophers, and I know a few players on the team. And for St. Thomas, my sister actually played and graduated in 2020. So when I was a freshman and she was a senior, we overlapped and actually played on a line together. So I've been watching St. Thomas for a while.
That's great. I think that is all the time we have for Lucy and St. Thomas. Thank you for your time today. All right, up next, we will move on to our next team. Just a reminder for our media members, be sure to join with a muted mic and then use the raise hand function, and we'll call on you as time allows for questions. Up next, we have head coach Mara Corral in her 7th season at Minnesota Duluth. Coach, do you have an opening statement you'd like to share?
Thanks, Jenna. It's exciting to be here for Media Day. Can't believe it's already it's already here, and some teams are playing really soon, and it feels really soon for us, yet we're a little after the other guys, but really excited. Our group has been working really hard, obviously, over the summer and in these first few weeks to get ready for the season. So excited about our group. We have a lot of upperclassmen returning. We have 12 fourth and fifth year players, which is a certainly big upperclassmen group. And that's just a lot of experience, a lot of people that have played in a Frozen Four before, a lot of motivation. And really for coaches, it makes things a lot smoother in transition. So we have a group of incomers that we're excited to be welcoming to. And it's a bigger group, like a lot of teams around the country this year, but very excited, like where we're at, and we're excited to get going.
Great to hear. We have questions already from Sam.
Hey, Maura, just kind of talking about how, the season went last year. Do you feel like there's just a different kind of energy going into this year? It's so much motivation and wanting to get back to the Frozen Four?
Yes, absolutely. I think right when that last game ended, we started talking about this season, and it's hard to explain what an NCAA tournament feeling is like until you get there. And now that most of the group has been there, they certainly want to get back. I think there's a level of confidence as well as that drive and that focus, and it's certainly exciting, and I know we're itching to get that first game underway.
Matt Wellens.
Matt Wellens from the Duluth News Tribune and the Rink Live. Maura, heard Amsoil Arena, everyone from coaches, players, support staff, everyone down there is vaccinated. What does that do for the environment, and what was that push like, and how much does that maybe help everyone inside that arena going into this season?
Yeah, we're proud of our group for taking that on themselves and getting vaccinated, and it just allows us to operate in an easier way than everybody was operating last year. We're masking's required in all UMD buildings, including the rinks. So that's still in effect, which I think is a good thing. And, proud of the group for doing what we needed to do to make this season possible and as smooth as possible. We know there will be hiccups because COVID is still very much with us, but we're putting ourselves in a really good position to play a lot of hockey this year.
Alicia.
Hi, Alicia Tipke from WDIO. Maura, just seeing that, Gabby Hughes receiving the preseason honor, WCHA, what does it mean to have her here and have her recognized already before the season even started?
Well deserved. She's been a tremendous player in the WCHA for 3 years now, and she will be a name that we hear about a lot this year too. Really excited and well-deserved accolades for Gabby.
Matt?
Maura, you were part of a group that worked pretty hard this spring and off season on putting together an NCAA tournament expansion proposal. That proposal got tabled by the oversight committee last week. Just your reaction to where that proposal's at yet, and where it goes from here, and what work that group needs to do from here on out yet.
Yeah, thanks, Matt, for that question. It's very frustrating from my standpoint. Our group probably worked harder on that proposal than most have had to work to get things passed by the oversight committee. And we know it's not the end of the road. It's disappointing and really frustrating from my standpoint for all the time that a lot of coaches and administrators put into this effort. And I think we have a lot of merit behind what we're asking for, and our sport deserves it. So we will continue to work hard to keep this topic alive. We're not going away.
Sam?
Maura, it's one thing to have an experienced upper class, juniors, seniors, the fifth year, but when they are some of the most talented players, not only on the team, but in the entire league, how big of a deal is that for you to have some of your best players be the most experienced?
Yeah, it's what probably every coach wants. There's so much familiarity, so much trust, and love, frankly, both ways. So I think when you have that sort of recipe, things will be good. It doesn't mean we're not going to struggle. It doesn't mean that they know everything. It doesn't mean that we won't have adversity, but it certainly puts us in a really good spot because they have a lot of experience playing in this league, which is the best league in the country. And it's different, and it takes time to understand that and to understand all the opponents and opponents' buildings. We're excited to get into some more of those this year than we did last year. So it's a really great opportunity for our group, and we're well suited for the season.
Nicole.
Hi, Maura. I just wanted to ask about adding Elizabeth Jager this year and adding that talent and a level of player to your team and the dynamic, and how she's sort of integrated so far, and how you guys sort of plan to use her and include her in your plans.
Yeah, good question, Nicole. We're very excited to have, we call her Jiggy, to have her here. Big smile on her face when I saw her on campus for the first day, and a handshake, very polite kid. She's fitting in really well. She loves the area, very happy. The kids love her. It's everything's gone so well so far, and getting on the ice and having her out there, just getting to see some of the things that she does out there. She's just a different type of player, very creative, likes to slow things down, sees plays that other people don't necessarily see, which makes her a great complement to some of the players that we sort of talked about earlier in this call, and some of the names you guys are familiar with. So she'll be used quite a bit, and we'll get her up to speed as quickly as we can with our systems and things. But she's quite capable already of jumping right in.
Sam?
Maura, Emma Soderbergh kind of was flying under the radar going into last season, but now pretty sure everyone knows her name and what she's all about. What are you kind of expecting from her going into the season?
Yeah, I'm excited for her. Coming into last season, she hadn't had the opportunity to play much, and as you mentioned, she certainly put her name on the map and did a great job for us. Helped get us to that Frozen Four for sure. It was a big part of that, and I hope that she picks up where she left off. She has big shoes, her own shoes to fill now, but there's no reason why she can't pick up where she left off and continue to grow and continue to develop. That's always our expectation in the program is, you're never done learning, you're never done growing. And I know she'll do the same. And she's a great student of the game, always wants to watch video, always wants to have conversations with the coaches about different things. So I expect her to come in and do a great job and continue to grow her game.
Are there any other questions for Coach Kroll? All right. Well, thank you for your time, Coach.
Thank you.
All right. Next from Minnesota Duluth, we have senior forward and captain Gabby Hughes. Gabby's from Lino Lakes and was voted to the 21-22 WCHA preseason all-league team. Do we have any questions for Gabby? Matt.
Matt Wellens for the News Tribune and Rink Live. Gabby, describe what life is like inside Amsoil Arena this season compared to last year. You're smiling already, so I'm assuming it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's a lot less stressful, a lot more home-like again, where it's your safe space. It's our free place to do what we love instead of stress about COVID, and the fact that we're all vaccinated is something that contributes to that. So being on the ice and in the weight room and having a a schedule that we can depend on every day, and knowing what's coming the next weeks instead of being so unpredictable is super nice. So I think the feeling down at Amsoil is a little bit different and a little more home-like again.
Alicia?
Alicia Tipke, WDIO. Gabby, of course, it's early. You haven't even played your first game yet, but with this group of women that you have, this upper class, has there been any conversation about what you're going to do to try to get back to that Frozen Four?
Yeah, we've started those conversations the day that we lost last year and our season ended, and we continued to talk about it all summer long. And it's just our topic of conversation. And that's something that this group and my class has talked about since the day we got into Amsoil and at UMD. And we've always said we'll do whatever it takes, but actually implementing that and doing the extra miles and extra team bonding things, extra things on the ice, and whatever it takes to get back there is what we're going to do. So I think that it's always been a topic of conversation for us. So being there last year makes it a little bit more realistic and something that we take very seriously now.
Sam?
Hey, Gabby, how has Elizabeth Jager kind of meshed with you guys? I'm pretty sure you guys are really, really excited to get that caliber of a player on your roster.
Yeah, she is awesome. She has an unbelievable personality on and off the ice. She's a super good teammate. And I think if you ask anyone on our team, everyone would have the same answer. It's felt like she's been on our team the last 5 years, and it's just her 5th year with the Bulldogs. And it's not like she's a transfer or anything like that. So with her coming in and just having that personality makes the transition a lot easier for her and the team to take in a transfer. So it's super nice having her and her skill set that she adds to everyone. She definitely is out there pushing the pace and pushing people's creativity. You see some of the stuff that she does, and you want to try it. You want to do the things that she's doing out there. So yeah, she's fitting in unbelievable, and we all love her and opened arms when she came in.
Are there any other questions for Gabby? Matt?
Matt from the News Tribune Rink Live. Gabby, what's the college life been like outside of Amsoil Arena for you guys? I talked to Blake Biondi briefly earlier this week, and as a sophomore, he said he was excited to actually be a college student this year. I'm wondering what life has been like for you to return to college life, and then maybe watching that sophomore class getting to experience a lot of these things for the first time after missing out last year.
Yeah, it's definitely super nice to get back into the classroom. Granted, we still have our masks on, and that's perfectly fine. It's just so nice to be back in person with people having real conversations and hands-on learning. And especially for my major, elementary ed, it's all hands-on and it's all being in certain situations. So it's super nice to be back in that situation. But it's funny for the sophomores because some of them had never even stepped foot on campus and didn't know where their classes were. And we were like, you guys are sophomores. And we're like, oh, wait, you guys didn't go to the school at all last year. So a little bit more like a bigger freshman class, it seems like, getting back into the swing of school and stuff. But it's super exciting. And we're all loving having that schedule back of going to class, going to the school, the rink, and being more of a human being than just locked up in a room. So it's been good and it's super fun.
And John Gilbert will be our last one. Unmute yourself, John. There you go.
I did it once. I hit the button. It didn't work. Sorry. Okay.
All Gabby,
good. John Gilbert from the Duluth Reader. I've watched you play so well, and particularly against the Gophers, you always seem to play so well. And now you have this kind of a little hassle because you guys, kind of a controversy over whether you or the Gophers would go to the tournament. And now you end up being tied for 4th ranking in the country, and that's your opening series. Are you looking forward to that already?
Oh yeah. Yeah. we're obviously super excited just to get started, but little bit of a rivalry has come from that whole situation last year, on top of what we already had. So definitely super excited, but just to play games, and the way that this season is feeling so far is more normal. So super excited to get back in that routine of what it was like before COVID, and hopefully build off of that and keep going from there. So super excited to get our series underway, especially against the Gophers.
Great. Thank you for your time today, Gabby, and good luck this season.
Thank you.
All right, next we will move on. We have the 2021 National Champion Wisconsin. We're going to start with fifth-year forward and preseason player of the year, Daryl Watts.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hi, Daryl.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Any questions for Daryl? Nicole?
Hi, Daryl. It's been quite an up and down off season for you. I was just curious about sort of harnessing everything that happened in the last, 6 or so months, and the high of winning the Frozen Four, and sort of where your mindset is coming into this season.
My mindset is really positive. Winning the national championship last March was probably the most fun, most thrilling, exciting period of my life. To celebrate with my teammates, the coaches. It was awesome, and I'm so looking forward to getting back on the ice and working with my teammates, the coaches, to win our third championship, go for a three-peat. So yeah, definitely very excited.
John?
Daryl, John Gilbert from the Duluth Reader. You guys had an amazing finish up here with UMD. Great way to end the regular season. It was an amazing game, and you end up beating them by a point for the title. But then going on into the Frozen Four, did you feel like your team played your best in that Frozen Four?
I do. I feel like the preliminary, the final 8 game, or Elite 8, whatever you call it, against Providence, I think we played maybe one of our worst games of the season. I think there were a lot of nerves. We didn't know what to expect from Providence, but we won. We did what we had to do. And then moving into the Ohio State game, that was such an intense game. They played great. We played great. And then against Northeastern, it was definitely a different, I wouldn't call it style, but just a different type of game than we'd seen throughout the season against like Ohio, Duluth, the Gophers. So, I think honestly, it probably wasn't our best game, but, like I said before, we did what we had to do. We won. So all was good.
Other questions? Nicole?
Daryl, just curious what it's been like transition-wise in terms of this year being a little more normal and getting to be with people more in the off season, and how that's helped team chemistry and sort of preparing for this season.
Yeah, I was actually at home throughout the summer, and in Toronto, things were still pretty locked down. So it wasn't quite back to normal, but I know that here things were open. You didn't have to wear your mask anywhere. But now you do have to wear a mask, so things have changed a little bit. But restaurants are open. You can go to class. We can be together as a team, practice as a team. Last year at this time, we were in small groups practicing, so obviously that disrupted team chemistry and building bonds with your teammates that you don't really know. So this year, we're definitely thankful and grateful to be back to almost normal life. and it's been fun. And we're really excited for Lindenwood next weekend.
Our final question will be from Jess Myers.
Hi, Daryl. Jess Myers from the Rink Live. You know, at this point in your career, what can you do to top what you've done already? What can you do to take it up a notch from last year and having a Kazmaier under your belt and all of your other accomplishments?
I would say winning another national championship. There's no greater feeling than that. And I'm so blessed that I got to experience that last March, and knowing what it feels like. There's nothing I want more than to do it again with my teammates. So that is the goal. And my teammates and I were going to do everything possible to attain that feeling again, and then celebrate for the rest of our lives, because college will be over.
It doesn't all end there. Thank you for your time today, Daryl.
Thank you.
Then we will move into head coach Mark Johnson. Coach is in his 19th season.
Good, be cautious.
Yeah.
Hi there, Coach.
Top of the morning.
Would you like to open with anything, outlook on the season?
No, I think I'm sure the other coaches and staffs and players are excited to, bring the fans back into our buildings and have hopefully a normal season compared to what we all had to go through last year. So I think sure everybody's excited, and we're certainly excited here in Madison.
Questions for Coach Johnson? Matt?
Hi, Mark. Matt Wellens from the Duluth News Tribune and the Rink Live. There was a proposal put forth this summer to expand the NCAA women's hockey tournament, and it got tabled recently by the Oversight Committee. Your thoughts on the tournament expanding to 8 teams and it not going into effect for at least this season, it seems right now?
Well, I think, everybody in women's hockey probably was disappointed, that there wasn't a verdict one way or the other. And certainly, the disappointment without rendering any decision. But, if you look at and dig a little deeper, there's probably some reasons why they tabled it. Obviously, with Robert Morris, dropping their women's and men's hockey program, all of a sudden, we only have 5 teams in the CHA, which, they get a 2-year moratorium as far as their automatic bid. And obviously delaying, our new league out east without giving them the automatic qualifier. So there's probably some things on their mind for the next year or two to see what happens, with the CHA and those type of things. Because, as you dig deeper, there's just some things that are, there that need to be clarified and cleared up before probably in the back of their minds, they want to make a final decision. But I think we're certainly in a position, to at least add 2, if not 4 teams to our tournament if we want to continue to grow our game, not only on individual campuses, but throughout the country. I'm certainly was part of the group that when we only had 4, we expanded to 8. It's helped a lot of teams that have had a chance in the postseason to talk about the NCAA tournament. It excites their universities, excites their fan base. And I think if we're able to go to 10 or 12, it'll continue the process of growing our game.
Other questions for Coach? John?
Mark, John Gilbert from the Duluth Reader. How are you doing?
Good, thank you.
Interesting summer, and now you're back here, picked as the favorite. It looks like kind of the same old, same old. You're on top, and there's Ohio State, and then the Gophers and UMD tied. It's kind of like the same top 4. Is that what you're looking forward to?
To be honest with you, I didn't see or read any of what came out. So looks good on paper, but doesn't win you hockey games. So I think obviously with the position everybody's in, with the availability to bring, some, many, not many, whatever you're able to do as far as bringing kids that played for you last year that normally would have graduated and moved on, makes for an interesting year. So, what we saw last year in an unbalanced schedule, there are a bunch of teams in our league that played very well, had great seasons, are going to bring back players. And what I expect this year is probably going to be a little bit more challenging for everybody than it was last year with the balanced schedule. So we'll get to play everybody more times than we did last year. But I can anticipate at least 3, if not 4 teams, maybe 5 teams, getting an opportunity to win our league. And we haven't said that too often, but as I look at the teams this year and what they're capable of bringing back from last year's squads, it's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting, and you better be ready to go every night, or else you're going to lose a bunch of games.
Nicole?
Hi, Mark. Nicole, USCHO. I was just curious, with the number of players that you have being centralized, and as you mentioned, the 5th-year players, it's been just an interesting offseason in terms of knowing what your roster was going to look like coming into this year, and maybe how you and the staff prepared for having a different look and not necessarily knowing who was going to be on the ice come September.
Yeah, that was a good question. I mean, we were sort of trying hypothetically to figure out who might realistically get a chance to be centralized with Team Canada and Team USA. And I think if you talk to our staff, we were probably off on a few players and surprised by a few players. But, we didn't really know our schedule or what our roster was going to look like till after USA got finished up with who was going to be centralized. And when we found out those individuals that won't be with us this year, then we have a roster. We're a little bit shorter than we have been in years past, but that's part of what we go through on the women's side when we run into an Olympic cycle. And so we look at a roster when we started school last week and started some practices and move forward, and hopefully stay away from injuries. But I like what we have up to this point.
Jess?
Mark, Jess Myers from the Rink Live. Wondering if you and Joel Johnson have talked at all about what he's got in store for him in the next 6 months or so as the Olympic coach, with your experience, if he's your advice and if any advice you offered.
No, I haven't heard from Joel or talked to Joel since I left their evaluation camp in early June.
Any other questions for Coach Johnson? All right, I think that's all we have.
Perfect. Thanks.
All right, thank you for your time. All right, we have just a few minutes before we hop on with Minnesota. All right, as they get logged in, I will just remind our media members, things are going great. Keep utilizing that raise hand function to ask a question, and we will call on you as we go through, and just be sure to state your name and affiliation for each new team. Hello.
Hey, how are you doing?
Good. Are we starting with you, Emily?
Whichever you want.
That's totally fine.
Perfect.
So for Minnesota here, we have fifth-year defender and captain Emily Brown. Emily's from Blaine, Minnesota, and was voted to the 21-22 preseason All-WCHA team. Do we have opening questions for Emily? Jess.
Hi, Emily. It's Jess Myers from the Rink Live. I want to ask about last season a little bit. You know, it was the ultimate roller coaster ride. It seemed like, to be ranked #1 in the country in January and then, you know, wind up watching the NCAA tournament on TV. Do you guys focus on that, or has the message been forget about last year and move forward?
Yeah. Hi, Jess. You know, it's an interesting balance. You know, obviously we're focusing on what we can control, and that's the future. So we're using, you know, using that for motivation and using that, you know, in our training, and obviously it's in the back of our heads, but at the end of the day, we're focusing on what we can control, which is how we prepare every day, and you know, the next game and the next practice. So we're definitely looking ahead more so than anything.
John.
John Gilbert from the Duluth Reader. You guys had an interesting battle off the ice in the ratings room and everything else with UMD over the end of the season, and they got to go and you didn't by the thinnest of margins. And I was asking them about this, but great rivalry you have with UMD, and now even more so because of how that last season ended with the tournament pairings. And you open their season up here in Amsoil Arena. Should be a very interesting series, maybe a little more intensity, and you may not look back, but you might look back that weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, UMD is a great program, and at any time, regardless of the scenarios, that they both of our teams go head to head, and it's always a tight game. So definitely looking forward to that game just as much as any other weekend. You know, the next game's always the biggest, regardless of the opponent. So always a fun time playing Duluth, especially up in Duluth. You know, campus is awesome. It's a great area to play in, a great rink and atmosphere. So for sure, looking forward to that weekend, and just excited to get this season rolling overall.
Jess.
Some notable changes to your coaching staff in the last couple months, including the addition of, you know, one of the true American hockey legends in Natalie Darwitz. Just what does the staff look like? How is it different now? And what does Natalie bring to what your team has?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, growing up in Minnesota and watching the Gophers, you know, Natalie Darwitz is always one of my favorite players. So it's pretty unique to now be coached by her, not only in that aspect, but also, you know, she's a great coach, and she brings a lot to the table from that angle as well. And you look at what her and as well as Jake has done at Hamlin and whatnot, and all the success they've brought to that program. And they're just, it's really exciting to have them join our group. And in our first couple of interactions and practices on ice, it's been really evident that they'll make a really big impact on our program, in addition to obviously our head coach, Brad Frost, who is great as well. So we're really excited for the three of them to be joining, or to be leading our program, and see where they take us this season.
Nicole.
Emily Nicole, USCHO. I just wanted to ask you about sort of what you're thinking about for defense this year. It's been sort of up and down during your time there. And I just, as a fifth year, as a returning member, just if you could talk a little bit about the focus on defense, what you're hoping to accomplish both sort of as a unit and as a player.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you look at our returning defense, and I think we have a great group coming back. A lot of experience, obviously, with Knowles and myself coming back as fifth years, and then also having, you know, Gracie Ostertake, Crystal and Hengler, and then a couple newcomers as well. And, you know, the list just goes on, but it's just, I think we have a great group. Like I said, balance a lot of experience as well as some newcomers and the new energy and dynamics that they bring as well. So, I mean, obviously our focus is going to remain the same of, you know, keeping the puck out of the net. And it's tough to lose hockey games if you don't give up any goals. So with the combination of our defensive group and our goaltenders, I think we're positioned to be in a really good spot defensively, and I'm excited to get going and compete.
And last question from Jess.
Emily, COVID hasn't obviously gone away totally. You know, we're still dealing with the pandemic in certain aspects of life, but can you just tell us about what last year was like? You know, just the schedules being so in flux, it seemed like, and, you know, not knowing on Wednesday who you'd be playing on Friday sometimes. And does this year feel a little more normal or a little more traditional?
Yeah, it does. I mean, and part of that is, you know, we're able to get started on time. We're able to have practices in September. I mean, last year, you know, we got a bit of a later start. So even in just that regards, you know, having a normal preseason, going through all the off-ice testing, and as far as performance testing, I should clarify, but you know, it's just a normaler look. We're able to do a little bit more, you know, team bonding, team activities outside of the rink, which is, you know, so important to building that culture and that team chemistry. So, you know, obviously COVID is still around and still an issue, but we're able to get back to a little bit more normal this year, which I think is huge.
Great. Thank you for your time, Emily.
Thank you.
All right, up next from Minnesota, we have head coach Brad Frost in his 15th season with Gophers. Coach, do you want to open with a statement, outlook on the year? What can we expect?
Sure. Yeah. Thanks for having me on. It's as everybody says, they're really excited about the year, and we are too. It's so far, anyways, a little bit of a normal season, and hopefully that continues. But we have a couple new coaches, and we're really grateful to have them on board. Natalie and Jake both bring some tremendous things to our program, and you know, there's kind of a renewed freshness around our group. We have 9 new players, 2 new coaches, and so it's an opportunity for us as a group to really reset and figure out who we want to be, what do we want to continue to do, what do we want to maybe move on from, and how do we want to play. So again, really grateful for the opportunity to be playing again, and excited for the season.
Great. We'll open it up for questions. And first we have Jess Myers.
Brad, Jess Myers from the Rink Live. Similar to what I asked Emily, as a coach, how much do you encourage them that your returning players especially, to flush the memory of last year and start over? And how much do you use the way last season ended as motivation for, you know, doing just a little bit more maybe?
Yeah, we haven't talked a whole lot about last year. I will tell you, our group as a program are extremely motivated. This is maybe the most motivated I've seen our team in a long time. That was a very sour taste in our mouth, the way things ended last year. It was, I think I mentioned, the ultimate kick in the teeth after getting kicked in the teeth week in, week out because of all the COVID protocol and game cancellations and things like that. And so this is a group that's hungry, and I'm really excited about it. So we don't have to talk too much about last year. They know what went on and how it ended, and they're certainly motivated for this year.
Charles?
Can you hear me, Brad?
Yep, I got you, Charles. Thanks.
Charles Holmes, Minnesota Sports Reporter. Thank you, Brad. Can you speak a little bit on Crystal Lynn and her progress throughout the year? Secondly, can you talk about just when will we get to the point where we won't have to focus so much on the lack of few Black players in women's hockey, and then we talk about them as just part of the game?
Yeah, I know Crystal Lynn, she wants to be known as a hockey player. She understands, who she is and the importance of her and her diversity. And she's progressing well. You know, she's had a real good career for us over the last few years. And now that she's into her senior year, she's going to be looked upon pretty heavily for us. And, you know, she led our defensemen in scoring last year. She had a great year, started to use those offensive gifts that she's always come to know and has had. So we're excited to see her progression and what she'll bring to the table this year, and just really proud of who she is and the things she stands for.
Nicole.
Hi, Brad. Nicole, WCHA. I wanted to ask you about just the coaching changes. And obviously you and Joel knew each other so well and are good friends. And it's a very different dynamic with these new assistant coaches. They're different personalities. And so I was just sort of curious about how it's going so far, how you foresee it, and just those changes. You guys were, very comfortable and very close and worked so well together. So just big changes for you sort of behind the scenes.
Yeah, it's different, right? As you mentioned, Joel and I have been together a long time and share a lot of the same values and things like that. Really happy for him to be able to go to St. Thomas and be a head coach and not have to move his family and just, be a head coach. He's had plenty of opportunities over the last number of years and he finally found one that was a great fit for him. Obviously with Bethany going there too, they've got some great camaraderie there. In saying all that, it's been a really exciting summer. New perspectives, new voices, a reset for me, again, to look at our program and look at myself and what I've done over the last number of years and what do I want to do differently? What do I want to do more of? What do I want to do less of? And knowing that we have two coaches that are coming in from a program that was really in the cellar of the MIAC, and they brought Hamlin to the forefront of D3 women's hockey. And so certainly everybody knows Natalie, and you can just see our players when she speaks, they straighten up a little bit and their shoulders go back, and you can tell that they're taking everything in that they can from her, knowing that she's been here, she's done that, both as a player. When she was with me 12, 13 years ago as an assistant coach, she was right out of college. She was, our second assistant coach, wasn't given a ton of responsibility. She was just kind of getting her feet wet. And now that we have her back, she's going to be a huge member of our staff and have some really big roles from a coaching standpoint with our players. Jake is a great compliment to Natalie. Again, a great guy that knows the game. He's got a great demeanor about him. And I think the three of us, while all different, really complement one another. So really excited to see what they bring to the table. And, we've been out on the ice with our players once or twice and to see just how our players are reacting to both of them has been fantastic.
We have time for one or two more, so we'll move on to Matt.
Hey, Brad, Matt Wellens from the Duluth News Tribune and the Rink Live. Just your thoughts on the NCAA tournament expansion proposal that was put forth this summer and it unfortunately getting tabled last week by the Oversight Committee. Yeah, we're a group of us have been pushing really hard and doing a lot of work to try and get some bracket expansion. It makes sense with the New Ha League getting their automatic bid here, not this year, but next year. I think it was a long shot to get expansion this year anyways. So having it be tabled is not a no. It's just a not right now. And so they'll circle back and look at that. And I think it just makes a ton of sense with 5 AQs eventually here starting next year to expand that bracket to 10. And I'm pretty confident that it's going to happen.
And final one is Just Myers.
Brad, having a gopher on the Olympic team, either for this country or for other countries, is not a new thing. But can you just tell us, in your experience, where does Grace Sumwinkle rank as far as, forwards that have come through your program, and what kind of contribution do you think she'll make for Team USA?
Well, I think you saw the contribution that she'll make out at the Worlds in her first World Championship as one of their top scorers. And, she's somebody that has just continued to grow in her game. And it's been great to see that development, her 200-foot game. She's getting to the net more. She's not just relying on her shot and her strength, but she's using her skating ability and her hockey IQ to get to the net and make plays. So I think she's going to be a big factor for that Olympic team, and I'm hopeful that she'll come back with the gold medal there.
Great, Coach. Thank you for giving us a rundown of the year, and best of luck.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. Up next, we have Ohio State, featuring head coach Nadine Mozzarell in her 6th season. Hi there, Coach.
Hey, welcome. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Great. Doing great.
Do you have an opening statement that you'd like to preview the year on?
Absolutely. The girls are really looking forward to having a full schedule, and they've brought in a lot of energy. We started school a couple of weeks ago, so it's been very fun at practice. Like I said, a lot of energy. They came back extremely fit. It's nice to know that their fitness is at a better level now than where it was at this time last year. So it just shows their commitment to excellence, and, finishing in the Frozen Four, falling short has left that bitter taste in their mouth, where the bar continues to be set here at the Ohio State in terms of women's ice hockey. And now, we used to aspire to the Frozen Four, and that's more in the rearview mirror, and we're looking to be national contenders this year.
Great. And we'll open it up for questions for Coach. Matt.
Hi, Nadine. Matt Wellens from the Duluth News Tribune and the Rink Live. Been asking coaches about the proposal to expand the NCAA women's hockey tournament that was put forth this summer, and it getting tabled by the oversight committee last week. Just your thoughts on tournament expansion and it not happening this year.
Yeah, that's a good question, Matt. I wasn't actually too surprised that I was going to get tabled this year. Understanding the timing of it was a little late, but a lot of kudos goes out to Lee J and Harvard and her crew that really worked hard and seemingly tirelessly behind the scenes. And I think it will happen next year, just knowing that girls hockey is one of the fastest growing sports in America, and especially with the Olympics coming in February, to continue to promote the game and developing the youth, that I do feel that we'll get to that 10 team bracket. I just hope, it kind of crippled us a little bit too with Robert Morris, losing their program, but hopefully, they can turn that around too. But again, just very hopeful for it, and it's a long time coming.
John.
Nadine, it's John Gilbert up in Duluth at the Reader.
Oh, I got a lot of Duluth fans. Hi, John.
Well, I wrote about you when you were playing.
Oh, wow. Now we're
not
dating ourselves, John.
You're not that old, but I am.
Well,
Anyhow.
Some days I feel older than others, but.
Well, you've done such a great job with that program, and you've been very competitive now for a couple of years, but last year you really took another step and you moved, I thought, to elite status in the country. Do you feel that way, that last year was the pinnacle and now you've got to just kind of maintain the position you've earned?
Yeah, thank you for the compliment in our program. I actually felt it 2 years ago as well, when we won our conference championship. And if you look at the records, I believe 15 of the last 19 teams that won our league also won the national championship. So we fell a little short just because of COVID, but I thought that's where we were really starting to gain momentum. And then again, I've said this before, having that bitter taste in our mouth of not having that opportunity, at no one's fault, but just not having that opportunity to reach that ultimate goal. And coming in this year, last season, I agree, the girls were hungry for it. We had a more seasoned team that had, experience at that level. And so I thank you again for that compliment. But again, we were Frozen Four, and now we're looking to national mentality here this year, falling short a little bit last year.
Nicole.
Hi, Nadine. Nicole, WCHA. I just wanted to ask about team chemistry. You guys brought in a lot of new players this year, lots of transfers. And just wanted to ask you about sort of if you guys are doing anything different or how you're sort of ensuring that all those different players work well together.
You know, Nicole, I had a bet with my SID. Someone was going to ask me this, so she owes me lunch now. So thank you for asking that question. You know what? I really trust in our program and our leaders within the locker room and what they bring each day and the tone of that they've set and the excellence and the standards that we have here at Ohio State. And so not worried about it. I mean, if I was, I wouldn't have brought them in. So they are also elite on their teams and where they came from. And each year that we bring in new players, whether it's freshmen or transfers, they add to our culture and actually make it better. I mean, again, we're sitting on such a strong foundation here with a lot of support within our resources here that I know that they'll fit just fine and be excited. A lot are happy with their decision to come already and see the changes in just even their academics and the tone in practice. And so they're nothing but grateful to be here, and we're very happy to have them as we know that they will continue to add depth to our program.
Do we have any more questions for Coach? John?
Nadine, it's John Gilbert again. I just wonder if, you know, when you played, the game has changed so much from when you played, but still, sometimes the goal scoring is tougher to come by nowadays. Do you ever show videos of your own self firing pucks in the net when you want to show these players how you score?
You know what, John, that's so funny because certain coaches look for certain things in players, and that is something that I do really look at. I haven't whipped out, you know, I don't even know where to find a VHS actually, so I'm not sure, but I haven't done that. There's sometimes, you know, we could ask Andrea that I can light her up sometimes in practices still, but she stops me a lot too. But I have not gone to that route, but I do agree with you, John. That is a tough thing to find in girls nowadays is the ability to score. I think they look to pass first instead of shoot. And I think the reason why I hold the record at Minnesota is because I had probably 200 or 300 more shots than the next person. Yeah, we obviously embrace getting inside and being selfish from the top of the circles down and pass second, really, if it's needed. But I think that that's just a bad habit that they've had ever since they were youth. And I think one of the reasons that made me a good goal scorer was I grew up playing boys hockey, and it was just very different than growing up playing with girls. And so you were taught to shoot. But that might be something that we're missing in our coaching prep there. So thank you for the idea.
Any other questions? All right, Coach, I think that is it for you.
Appreciate your time. Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.
Look forward to a great season.
Yeah, great having you on.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Yep. Next from Ohio State, we'll have senior goaltender Andrea Brandley from Zurich, Switzerland, and she was voted to the 21-22 preseason All-WCHA team. Questions for Andrea? I'll start. How do you think your participation at Worlds kind of helped heading into this new, more regular schedule of the year?
I mean, I feel like it's a great start for me because I already got some like game experience on like really, really high levels. I just think that really helps me of like for the start, especially for the start of the season, because everyone else doesn't get that like opportunity to play games before a season starts.
Mm-hmm. Nicole?
Sorry, hi, I'm Nicole, WCHA. You seem to find you seem to be your best in those biggest situations. And when I talked to Nadine this summer, you know, she kind of agreed. You maybe get a little angry and a little more shut down when that comes, and you particularly have had your best games sort of in the final regular season games and in the WCHA tournament. And I just kind of wanted your perspective. We saw that again from you at Worlds too, that you seem to really step up in those situations and find a way to shut down when you're absolutely getting peppered with shots. So I was just curious from your side, what is it in your mind when you come into those situations that helps you step up even bigger?
Yeah, you know, those games is literally like the reason why you practice every day. Like every day is so hard because you want to be prepared to like give the team a chance to win, like especially those games where the odds are against you. So that's just in my mind. It's like my chance to kind of make history, and I love doing that. So I want to try to do that again this year and really try to help my team like get a chance to win everything we can.
Other questions? Kind of following up on what you said there, what would you say are some of your individual goals for the year on top of just those team ones?
You know, my individual goals aren't that specific. I just want to, you know, like in every practice and every like shot I have and every action I have, I want to make the team better, and I want to help the team in every game to have the chance to win it. Doesn't matter what game, doesn't matter like when it is, just every single moment I'm stepping on the ice and facing a shot, I want to give my best. And yeah, I hope that this is enough that we can win a national championship.
Casey?
Hey, Andrea, Casey Smith of the Lantern here. Just losing Tata and Emma at the top of y'all's offensive attack, that's going to be difficult to replace. Who have you seen in just in early preseason camp that's going to be able to step up and take their spot at the top there?
I know that we lost a couple players, but we also gained a lot of like confidence from the new players coming in, and I feel like some of the older ones, some of the younger ones, especially too, are going to step up and like step into that position of goal scorer. I don't feel we have a problem with that. It's just like, yeah, we have to find our pace, and then we have a lot of talent in our team that can show off in every moment in the game.
Casey?
And then just after this season, you're going to go down as one of the greatest goaltenders in Ohio State women's hockey history. Just after hearing that and kind of processing that, just describe how you feel just knowing that you're going to go down as one of the best in the program's history.
I mean, I've never thought about that. I didn't even know that's the case until you told me. But that's such an honor in such a great program to be in a list of like great players. And I don't know, I'm not really thinking about those stuff because all that matters is the team and the team's success and not my individual success. So I will see after the season where I am, but I really hope that we as a team can step up and win a big thing this year.
Nicole?
Nicole Haase, USA Journal. Andrea, I was just curious, since your federation is not one that centralizes, do you feel like this season does set you up, do you feel like the competition sets you up to be in a good position when you head to the Olympics? I was just curious kind of about that comparison.
I feel like playing in a normal season, in a regular season, in like the best league in the world is pretty much the best way I could like prepare for the Olympics. And I feel like once the Olympics starts, I will be in the best place because I played like in the WCHA for the season. So yeah.
All right. I think that is all the time we have. Thank you, Andrea, for your time today.
Thank you so much.
Best of luck this season. All right. Up next, we will move to Minnesota State, featuring head coach John Harrington in his 6th season. Hi there, Coach.
Hello.
You want to give us a rundown of the year? What's it looking like and feeling like at Minnesota State right now?
Well, it's exciting. It's been exciting to get started and get out there with some, short practices right now, and looking forward to Friday when we can officially get started with our team. I think what is really exciting about this year is we had a chance to do a few things this summer. We've had a chance to do a few things as a group and a few things this fall already as a group, the girls on their own. And I think that was something that we really missed last year, is that social interaction and the social development that we had with our players having a chance to get together. So as of right now, I don't want to give a kiss of death or anything like that, but we're excited that the season's getting ready to be started, and hopefully we'll be able to play through and get all our games in. And I think after last year, the great adjustments that everybody made and being able to adapt and pivot with what was called on was showed great leadership by the league, and also a great acceptance by the different universities and schools that are in our league. So we're excited to get going. We're excited about our team. We have a veteran team, and we've, I think, built with young players that have come in each year and established themselves in our lineup and have contributed. So I'm looking forward to getting started, to getting games going. There's a certain amount of practice can do, and then there's a time where you just got to kind of put it out there and see what you have. And I think we're looking forward to that as we get ready to get started with games on September 24th.
Great. Now we'll open it up for questions. Kevin?
Hey, John, it's Kevin from the Free Press. I know that offense and scoring more goals has been a point of focus for you lately. And last year, maybe you didn't quite take the step you wanted, but I think on your power play, you really did take a step. You were second in the league in power play percentage. Do you feel like maybe that jump you made, with the power play could manifest 5-on-5 some this year?
Well, I think, you can sometimes build confidence in your ability to score, whether it's in 5-on-5 or when it's in a special team situation. I think, we all work on that, developing offense and doing the little things that we need to do to try to get pucks to the net and get bodies to the net. So I think, when you get into a power play situation, you have skilled players out there and they understand scoring. We hope they understand that's what we're trying to do. So, but that is, I think, one thing with our team. I mean, if you had to mention anything, it's just developing that confidence and that ability to deliver, and not just at general times during games, but at key situations of games. I think when we score goals in needed situations or important situations, that's really important to the success of your team, and to be able to build a confidence with your group that they can do that as the season goes on. So we'll work on that, and certainly I think too for us, we need to take a step up in our defensive play too, more consistently. I think we had moments and we had nights last year when we did a good job of that. We were consistently good with our playing without the puck, and I think a little bit of both of those. We always look for improvement in the things we're doing and trying to get better. And I think the offense is certainly of importance, but certainly being consistent defensively is important to success as well.
Other questions for Coach Harrington? What would you say in your squad? You got some veteran players, and you mentioned that earlier. How does that help with the team dynamic, both on and off the ice?
Well, I think that we look to them to lead by not only vocally, but to lead by example. And they can be coaches on their own too. We talk to our veteran players about helping the younger players along and helping to coach them when we're doing certain things. They have an understanding of what we're trying to accomplish on the ice. And I think that's important on our team, is that our older players take that responsibility upon themselves, that this is the way we do it. And they've done a good job of that. And you know, I think, you know, going forward this year, we have that group of upperclassmen that can be the leaders in that regard, but we had some young players too that stepped into roles and accepted roles that we asked them and contributed to our cause too. So I think we'll look at that end as well of those people making contributions, but it's always important how your upperclassmen and how your leaders lead. And we always expect big things out of them, whether it's in the games, whether it's in practice, whether it's just generally what they're doing, that they set a good example for our younger players.
And who are a few of those younger players we should be watching on the squad this year?
Well, I think, I mean, I'm just going to hear from one of them in a little bit here, Jamie Nelson, who was a WCHA Rookie of the Year last year. She'll be here, and a couple of her classmates last year, Sydney Langseth was kind of a, I mean, we appreciated how good a player she was. I don't think she quite got the recognition that she deserved, but Sydney Langseth, I think, will be somebody that we look for. She's somebody that can create offense and make plays. She has her what I call her head-to-hand skills are really fast. Like, she sees a play and she makes a play very quickly. And I think she's going to have I don't want to say a breakout year because she had a great freshman year last year, but I think she's going to be a big part of our offense. And one other freshman in that class, Maddie Meshuga, who was, for the most part, a Swiss Army knife for us last year. We could kind of use her anywhere and in any situation. And she just, coach, get me in there. I mean, a great attitude about that. It's like, I'll do whatever you ask me to do. And whether it was a left wing, center, right wing, whether it was killing penalties, whether it was taking an odd shift on the power play, Maddie thinks the game well and plays the game well. And we're looking for her to have a kind of an offensive breakout year for us, or at least, I shouldn't say a breakout year. I mean, I think she can contribute offensively to our team. I think I'll put it that way. So we're excited about watching her. And then, of course, Calla Frank, our goaltender, you know, she's you know, certainly somebody that always gives us an opportunity to win. She's had some great experience with the U.S. national team program in the last couple of summers. And I think she's somebody that, you know, whether we're right on or we're a little bit off, or whether it's not one of those nights, I think sometimes for us, it's, you know, it's not always how good you are when you're good, sometimes how good you are when you're not so good. And I think Calla always gives us that opportunity when we're not so good. So I think those are a few of the younger players that I think we'll be looking to you know, help us offensively and contribute offensively to our cause.
Great. We have a question here from Kevin.
John, last year you had the best winning percentage the program's had since 2007, 2008. I know we've talked in the past about how tough it is in this league to, you know, kind of keep clawing your way up. We've talked about some of the returners you've got. Do you feel like you've got a group that'll, you know, help you take another step again this year?
Well, I think so, Kevin. I mean, we're excited about our top group. You know, I think they're pretty good. They've shown they've been pretty good since the time they arrived. You know, we have two girls that are our super seniors, or whatever you want to call them, that are coming back for a fifth year. Britt Fleming and Jess Condis, who both have been captains for us in the past, and they kind of drive the bus for us. You know, they're the ones that are up front and leader of the pack. So, and I think that, you know, the confidence they show and the energy they put into playing every night rubs off on the rest of our team. And you have to be ready every night in our league. There's nothing easy. It's just the whatever night you play, it ranges from outstanding opponents to way above average opponents. So you have to be ready, but that's the beauty, and that's the great thing about playing in the WCHA, is that, you know, every night you're playing against one of the best teams in the country. So it's a big challenge for us, an exciting challenge, and yeah, we're going to try to keep just taking a step up each time and just and every year and just move up a little bit and try to get ourselves a little bit closer and learn what it takes to be a top team in the league, like some of the top teams have done for a long time.
Great. And I think that is all the time we have for you, Coach. So appreciate you taking the time and chatting with us.
All right. It's been great. Thank you.
Thank you. Next from Minnesota State, we're going to have Jamie Nelson. She's a sophomore forward from Andover, Minnesota, and was the 2020-21 WCHA Rookie of the Year and was named to the All-Rookie team. Do we have questions for Jamie? Kevin?
Hey, Jamie, Kevin with the Free Press. Maybe talk about your sophomore year, you know, being a little more normal. I know on the ice you're getting that, but you didn't get much that last year, and maybe off the ice, you know, as well, just doing the things that a normal college student would get to do that maybe you didn't get to do last year.
Yeah, I'm super excited. It's almost like having a freshman year all over again because, you know, I have freshmen this year asking me like, oh, what's it like the practices leading up to game days in September? And I'm like, I honestly don't know because last year we started in November and, you know, I'm just trying to learn things all over again, which is nice because it seems more normal. And I'm really excited to not have COVID looming over us as much this year.
Coach kind of mentioned what a great class yours is, last year's freshman, and how you do have some fifth years returning. So having that skill span across classes, what would you say, how does that help both on and off the ice with your squad?
I think it's great that we have veteran players that opted to come back because they're a great leadership group and the younger players look up to them a lot. I know like the junior and sophomore classes, they play a pivotal role in our team and we're always looking up to the seniors and super seniors to lead us. So to have that leadership, it's awesome. Like we can go out and contribute and then also get feedback from those players and we trust their opinions.
Kevin?
Jamie, I know that scoring more goals is a big point of emphasis. You're obviously going to be a big part of that. What do you see so far from this group, especially up front? Do you feel like you've got the ingredients to put the puck in the back of the net more?
Yeah, I'm really excited. We just kind of got our line set a couple days ago, and these practices after that have been really good. I'm super excited with my line. I won't reveal that yet, but we're doing good in practice, scoring goals, playing a lot of 5-on-5 to get things ready for game day. And I think we have a solid 3-4 lines that we can rely on. And I think that's going to be important because we need to keep up with pace throughout the games. And we can't do that rolling 2 lines. We need all 4 lines to contribute.
John?
Jamie, it's John Gilbert from Duluth Reader. Just curious, you got a chance growing up to watch the Andover boys hockey team emerge as a state power. And suddenly the girls team has risen just as much. What's going on in Andover? There's something in the water there? Because both the boys and the girls teams are at the elite level right now.
Yeah, I would say that it's the coaches. We have an amazing coaching staff at Andover that really care about players as people more than players. And I'd say like the class before me, we had like 10 of them on varsity. And they played a huge role in our success, and it led to younger success as the age groups got up. Like Peyton Hemp, her younger sister Layla, they won state last year. And I think it helps a lot to have younger girls looking up to older girls, and same thing for boys. I put it all on the coaches. I think they're amazing. They really care about us.
Great. That is all the time we have for you, Jamie. Appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yep. Good luck this season. Up next, we will move to Bemidji State, featuring head coach Jim Scanlon in his 8th season. Hi, thanks for joining us, Coach. Oh, got to get you off mute real quick. There we go.
We good?
All good.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah. Do you want to open? Let us know what to expect from the Beavers.
You guys have had a long morning, early afternoon, so we'll keep it short. No, I just kind of echoing some of the. I haven't been able to catch everybody, but certainly just really excited to kind of have a little bit more of a normal preseason, and I'm just excited for the players that they're getting to experience more of a normal college first year experience, second year experience, whatever it might be for our freshmen and sophomores. Just getting around campus with students around again is just really cool, to be honest. And it just all leads to just a lot of excitement leading into another hockey season. And we're anxious to get going. We know it's going to be once again a tremendously challenging conference to be a part of. Some great teams. Obviously the preseason poll, there's already 4 of us in the top 5, which is no surprise. And everybody else, I think Mankato's is going to be right there. And St. Cloud had a heck of a year last year. Now you had a great program like St. Thomas with a great coaching staff. It's going to be a tremendous league. And again, every weekend you're going to be challenged. And we know that. We're looking forward to it.
We'll open it up for questions. Christian?
Hi, Jim. Christian Babcock from the Bemidji Pioneer. I was just wondering. Good, thank you. You mentioned having a normal preseason and, seeing students around the campus. What are the benefits of having that normal preseason and then the campus atmosphere too to help you get ready for the season?
Well, last year was such a challenge. Everybody went through it. You started off the season, you could only have half your group on the ice at a time, and all the social distancing that was going on, it was just different. I mean, you're trying to get ready for a season. You didn't have your schedule for the longest time. There was just so much unknown. Then we had some stops. People were in quarantine. It was just, again, and then for the players themselves, they were particularly for our freshman class, their life was limited to being in their dorm room. They would come to the rink and then they go back to their dorm room. That was it. And we all knew we had to make some sacrifices. We all knew we had to stay in our bubble in order to even have the opportunity to play. And once we started, we were able to get all 20 of our games in. I mean, we lost our first 4. But once we started, which included a Christmas break, our group was able to stay, out of a quarantine situation. I give them a lot of credits. But when I talk about normal, normalcy starts with just their experience as college students. They get to go to classes and they get to meet other people outside of their teammates. They get to go to football games. They get to go to soccer games. All of that's part of the college experience, which I think is so important. And then, we've been able to be on the ice as a group, and then they as a team have been able to do so much together, which, is so important in terms of creating your identity and creating your culture. You need that. You need that time to get together and get to know one each other and connect. And we've been able to do that.
John?
Coach, it's John Gilbert from the Reader in Duluth.
Hi, John.
You got a great rivalry going with UMD, but every time you come down here, you seem to go home with some really good hockey players from this area, whether it's, the team that won the state title last year, Cloquet. I'm curious about Claire Verkerke because I don't think anybody else around the league realizes her bloodlines and how her aunt was Annie Adamchak, who was without question the greatest female athlete in Minnesota history. Senior year went undefeated in volleyball, basketball, and softball through every pitch in an undefeated state tournament, and they won all 3 state tournaments. And now here, how is Claire Verkerke looking on the ice for you?
Well, she obviously has those bloodlines because she is a tremendous athlete, John, as you all know. All state in hockey, obviously, but she was all state in volleyball. probably could have played collegiately in volleyball, and she was an all-state softball player. So just a tremendous athlete. And yeah, she's looked good. She's looked really good. She uses her size and strength to her advantage. She knows how to get to the net. Yeah, it's been fun to see her on the ice.
Christian?
Jim, having the full preseason and all the time to work with the team, like you said, and just having that normalcy, how much does that help you, whether it's tweaking lines or adding plays? How much more time does that give you to do those things?
Oh, just it's tremendous because we've tried to utilize as much of our early ice time, just on skill development. We got a bigger roster than we normally have. Obviously, with we have a number of super seniors back, and we already had a fairly large incoming freshman class. So the combination is we do have a lot of bodies, but it gives us an opportunity, obviously, to look at different combinations. We've had the time to do that, and again, we know we have an exhibition game with St. Cloud. Thankfully, Saturday the 25th, we know that, and now that's something that we can build toward. Last year at this time, we had no idea what our schedule was going to look like. We didn't know when we were going to start, if we were going to start. So just having that date out there, it just makes our jobs a lot easier in terms of preparation.
I'll jump in here with a question on that about the importance of that new addition this year, the waiver of adding the exhibition against a D1 team. What was the thought process, and how are you guys looking forward to that? Yeah, we were really, really grateful and thankful that opportunity presented itself. Again, one of the ramifications of COVID is our scheduling got messed up. We were obviously, some of the teams that were planning on coming this way from out east told us they weren't going to be able to. It wasn't going to be in their budget. We lost a tournament because the tournament wasn't played at all last year. So the tournament committee just thought they would shuffle those 4 teams into this year. So we got bumped from a tournament that we thought we were going to be in. So we wound up with just 32 games, and we looked at trying to maybe schedule the Whitecaps, but they weren't ready to play that early. And so when this waiver finally was okayed, Steve and I got in touch with each other and said, "Hey, let's see if we can work this out." And just an opportunity to play a game prior to our first regular season game will be huge. And just thankful that it worked out. Thankful that Steve was able to make it work as well. And normally most of us would play a team from Canada, but those games weren't going to happen. So this was at least an opportunity for us to get an exhibition game in prior to our first games on October 1st and 2nd. Do we have any other questions for Coach? All right, Coach Scanlon, thank you for your time today. Oh, thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day. You too. Then we will shift. Also from Bemidji State, we have senior forward Claudia Verkerke from White Bear Lake, Minnesota. Hi, Claudia.
Hi.
How's it going?
Going great.
Good. Do we have any questions for Claudia? Christian.
Hi, Claudia. This is Christian Babcock from the Bemidji Pioneer. I just wanted to know, after last year with all the COVID disruptions, having canceled games, how does it feel now to have a full season schedule?
It's absolutely amazing. And it's definitely something that I think people took for granted, because you show up here and you do your preseason, you go through your games, and as exciting as it is, you just expect that. So having that taken away from us last year because of COVID, and getting to realize the importance of the games is just so exciting, because that's why we're here, is to compete. So I'm really excited to have that full season and that full schedule to be able to show what we're made of and all the hard work we've put in this summer preseason.
Christian?
Yeah, I was talking, to your coach about this, and he was talking about how good it is just to have normal campus life, have football back at the Chet, just have that campus experience. What has that been like?
That's been so awesome. We got to go to the football games with the team, which even without COVID, we normally don't get to go to a ton of football games, but it's awesome just to be able to support the other athletes on campus and be a part of that college experience, and to be able to stand by each other and support each other like they, all the other athletes do for us.
John?
Claudia, it's John Gilbert from the Duluth Reader. I'm just curious. I know you got some new players, and a lot of them right from our area. I was kidding your coach about having a great rivalry and bringing home some players every time he comes down here. But tell us about some of the new players who have looked good to you in practice.
Oh, that's a big question, because like you said, I think we have 8 or 9 incoming freshmen. Honestly, I kind of lose track of numbers. But our defense, I think, have been really solid. I know McKenna Deering, she's come in with a great attitude of, I just talked to her yesterday. I was like, how are you feeling? And she's like, wow, this is so much faster. But she has a really great attitude of I'm excited to learn, I'm excited to play, and how can I strengthen my game? Claire Verkerke is big and tall and strong, and she can really use that to her advantage. In a scrimmage, she just went right by a D, just, sticking her shoulder out, because she can do that. She's got those broad, big hockey shoulders, which is awesome. But yeah, overall, I think the freshman class is looking really well, and they're definitely using their confidence to their advantage.
Christian?
Claudia, now that you have this full season on the horizon, what are your individual and then team goals for this season?
I'm going to start with team goals first, because I like to, as good as it is to be individually oriented, I think this year my focus is probably a lot on the team, because I want to have, really good team success. Obviously, we have lit a fire underneath us after last season, and we're all ready to win and to compete and to not go into these OT games, to win in regulation, because we know we can do that. And we have the talent, and we have the hard work and the drive to do that. So definitely being above 500 would be a team goal for us, to finish top 4 in the league. Like, we have big goals, and we've worked really hard to meet those. Individually, obviously, I want this to be my best season. Stat-wise, like, I want to be able to be a producer for this team and be a top goal scorer, a top assist player. I'd love to be on, succeeding those penalty kills, power play, special teams. Obviously, just setting a very high standard for myself, because that's what I want everyone else on the team to do for themselves, just to succeed.
That was a great question. Do we have any more for Claudia? All right. I think that's all we have for you today.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your time. We're excited to see you in the Beavers play this year.
Thank you.
All right, as we head in, we have, just a minute, into our final team, St. Cloud State. Just a reminder to our media members, keep using the raise hand feature to ask questions, and we'll call on you in the order they're submitted. And then just introduce yourself with your name and affiliation. So rounding out the day here, we have head coach Steve Mcdonald in his 3rd season. Hi, Coach.
Hi, Jenna. How's it going?
Good. What can you preview on the year for us with the Huskies?
Well, that we're in a little bit more of a normal preseason. Probably other coaches have said the same thing, right? But obviously with that, that's brought a certain level of enthusiasm and excitement to have a little bit more of a normal start to the season and as we move towards games, and this group is a group that's really driven and they're committed. And I think this group is really eager to see what the season has in store for them and the impact that they can have in the league, right? Because there's a high belief within this group. And, so with that comes that that excitement just to kind of wait to get going here in a couple of weeks. But with so many returners, and then obviously some of our leaders coming back as well, really pushes that forward, and so we saw that through the summer with our commitment level through the summer. In terms of the reports back to us and some of those conversations, but then obviously what they were like here on day one, when classes started. So it's a group that, again, there's a lot of excitement in terms of around what this group can do this year.
Now we'll open it up. Any questions for Coach Mcdonald? Blake?
Steve, just to talk about a little bit the decision to add that game against Bemidji State and the exhibition early on in the season and what all kind of went into that.
Well, if there's one lesson we learned last year, anytime you have an ability to play another game, let's get another game, right? And so the players here, they want to play, and the opportunity to do that. And Coach Scanlon with Bemidji, they had great conversations with that and moved pretty quickly, but they were gracious enough to be able to sort out a way to be able to get that exhibition game in and utilize that as an opportunity to get better. Anytime that you can go on the ice and compete as a team together, wearing a jersey, that we want to be able to take that opportunity. So it's something that we wanted to utilize as we prep the next weekend for a non-conference against Lindenwood. So for both teams, we saw it as a win-win situation to be able to utilize that waiver for the NCAA.
Other questions? Blake?
Steve, just to talk about a couple of your players that had opportunities to play at the international level this summer, and even some girls that have also moved on, like Laura Kluga, and just talk about what that kind of offers for them in terms of development, and then how much of an eye do you keep on their performances in those international tournaments?
Yeah, anytime you have some of your players go off and represent their country in international competition, one, you're extremely proud of be able to see them have that opportunity, and because you see all the work they put in day to day, and how committed they are. So the opportunity for them to do that and wear their country's jersey is obviously really special, and the team really gets behind them and supports them in that situation. And so anytime they can go have that experience and then bring that experience back to the team as well, one, it enhances their own development, but for them to be able to bring that experience back and share that with the team, and it just elevates the expectations and level here in the locker room. So, we've had multiple players do that. Obviously, most recently with Clara Himlarova, Yanina Newland, and like you mentioned, Laura Kluga, but Emma Pluzny, who you'll speak with soon here, also that experience. When she had that experience and came back and brought that to the team, it's a really special for the team themselves. But again, for the player, you just see every time they do that, they just raise that level. And so as women's hockey continues to grow and grow and grow, and the parity within the international competition, it's just something that we're really excited and proud to see our players do.
Bill Prout.
Hi, Steve. Bill Prout, Center Ice View and Huskies Illustrated. Steve, just curious, you have a transfer from Robert Morris, Chase Sperling, who had a fairly horrendous injury last year, came back, and I believe she played 7 games for Robert Morris. Just wondering how her recovery has gone and practices so far, how she's doing, how she's fitting in with the program right now.
Yeah, so first off, that's the first question you ask her in those conversations after you kind of get through the shock of RMU. But it's like, how's the leg? And she's not shy in terms of sharing pictures. If you want her to see pictures, I'm sure she's got a few, but they're not pleasant. No, she's a player that obviously went through a lot of adversity last year, and that to happen even right at the beginning of their season. So that was her start to her college career. So, when a player goes through something like that, that obviously, impacts them personally, and they have a lot of resilience through that, so for her, she's come in looking great. You don't even notice that she had an injury such as that last year. And obviously the work that she put in last season to be able to get ready and be able to even be in games. at the end of the year was impressive. And then for her to be able to step in here, she brings a little bit of a veteran presence, even though hasn't had a lot of games in her college career, but she has a little bit more of an experience, and with it, life experience that she had last year with that. Obviously, she has a little bit of a veteran presence coming back, but yeah, she's showing well, skating well, and moving around. It's a scar, but she's not showing it on the ice thus far. That's for sure.
John Gilbert.
Steve, I was going to say this league has been interesting over the years, and you've watched it for quite a while, but it's a struggle for the bottom four to challenge that top four. Do you feel your team is getting close to that level where you can make a run that kind of like Ohio State did? But it's so tough to break into that top four because they're all ranked in the top 5 in the country, and the rest of the league is very strong as well. How do you look at that challenge?
Well, it's a challenge that we look forward to each and every year. That's a challenge that you want to be in that top 4. You want to be that team that teams are talking about it in that top 4. And, I believe that we've shown really good strides on that, especially last year, taking Wisconsin close, taking Minnesota close, and 2 perennial top teams in our league, right? So anytime that you're able to show well against those teams, and it just creates an enhanced belief in terms of what you can do as a program. And again, I go back to the opening comments. This group has a extremely high drive and a commitment level and a belief in terms of what this season has in store for them. And the first conversations after last year, as we're talking to our team captains and our returners, is that they want to be in that conversation, and there's no reason why not? Well, why not us in terms of playing into those spots? Is it going to be tough? Absolutely. And that's how we want it. That's why players are here in this league is you don't want the easy path. We want that difficult path, and we want to be one of those teams that are in that conversation. So, this group is a group that we believe can make that push. We have strong veteran leadership, and especially when you have a returning goalie and coming back, and a returning captain coming back as well, Kenzie Wiley. And that just anytime you can have 100 games come back and have that experience, that just bodes very well in terms of what this group is capable to do this year. So again, it'll be a challenge, but we're really looking forward to it.
On that, there has been a lot of talk, obviously, about the returners and veterans and bringing that experience back. How do you think that'll help develop your freshman class this year?
Yeah, anytime you have the veterans returning and such a solid group of veterans in terms of how they welcome in those freshmen, I think that's key. Number one is how they welcome them into the family and how they support them as they adjust and they adapt to their college career. And then on top of that, it's the freshmen and the quality of the individuals that you're bringing in. And it's a group that has shown extremely well, and not only in the weight room, but just in terms of their personal commitment as a human being to coming here to this program. They've just jumped right in. So that's a testament to both sides, the veterans welcoming them, but also the freshmen being prepared and committed to contribute. So it's that's one thing we've been very proud of in terms of our leadership the last couple of years, and that's paying off, and that's being paid forward to the freshmen. And the freshmen, it's a smaller group, but it's a group that's come in ready to contribute. So excited to see them on the ice wearing the jersey in a couple of weeks.
Anyone in particular we should have our eyes on?
Well, Chase Sperling, obviously, her being a transfer, her having a little bit of an experience there. Dale Ross, we have some young D, right? So we have Dale Ross coming in from Spirit River, Alberta, way up there, northern Alberta there. But, she brings some Hockey Canada experience through some of their training camps. Devin Millwater from British Columbia as well. And then Grace Wolf from Owatonna here in Minnesota, so we have some defensemen coming in that are showing extremely well. And then Ellie Anderson from Fergus Falls on the forward, our lone freshman forward, but she stepped right in and we expect her to be able to look for ways to contribute. So, but yeah, and I think looking at the back end right away in terms of, with Dale Ross and Chase Sperling as a couple that bring a lot of experience in their youth days into the lineup, but those are two we expect to be able to come in and contribute.
Great. Bill?
Steve, it seems like I'm always asking you about your offense or goal scoring. And your top 10 point scorers last year had a total of 26 goals. The downside is that they didn't score that much, but you have 8 of 10 of them coming back this year. So there is some experience there. What's your optimism in regards to generating some more offense this season?
Yeah, Bill, we talked about that last year as well, right? It's just, every team wants to generate offense, right? So you're always looking how to generate more, and with, 13 of our 14 forwards as returners. And like you mentioned, majority of them, and then a lot of them, some of our high scorers as well. So just losing Laura Kluga to graduation, but that obviously brings some optimism, back in terms of what they're able to contribute, but that experience and that depth, and that depth, I think, is really important as well, that you have some other forwards, because there's inevitably going to be injuries throughout the year. So who can step up into certain positions to help out offensively. But when you have that many returning forwards, obviously there's a high level of optimism and, what that will mean on the production side, on offensively. So it's a group that's showing that they've continued to improve over the summer in some of the areas that we identified in their meetings, year-end meetings last year. And from there, we really believe that we'll be able to find more ways to increase that offense, which, like I said, every team is looking to do, but there's a lot of confidence in us right now in that forward group.
Any final questions for Coach? All right. Thank you for your time today, Coach Mcdonald.
Thanks, Jenna. Emma will jump on.
Sounds good. So rounding out our WCHA Media Day, finishing strong, we have graduate goaltender and captain Emma Polusny from Mound, Minnesota.
Hi there. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Any opening questions for Emma? John?
Emma, it's John Gilbert from the Duluth Reader. Seriously, when you have a team that doesn't score a lot of goalies like to see a lot of shots. You can see 30, 40 shots. You like it better than if you only see 12 or 15. But when your team doesn't score, it becomes very important. Which kind of goalie are you? Do you prefer to see a lot of shots?
Yeah, I definitely prefer a lot of shots. I think that's part of the reason why I actually chose St. Cloud in the first place, was because I wanted to be involved in the game. I wanted to be, playing an important role in the team in terms of what it takes for us to win as a group. I've always thought it's a lot more fun to face 30 shots than it is only 10 in the game. You signed up to play goalie, and that means stopping pucks. So I think the more pucks you're thrown your way, the better. Obviously, it gets a little tiring sometimes, but it's all part of the fun of it.
Blake
Tyson with KVSC. Emma, just looking at kind of how things are going to shake out in net this year, you're pretty used to kind of being in a rotation a little bit in goal, obviously going back to your days with Janine and then a little bit last year with Sani. How do you expect that to play out this year? Is it going to kind of be that kind of 1A, 1B kind of thing, or how do you think it plays out in net?
Yeah, I mean, you're always hoping to play both games. That's just part of wanting to play that important role, as I said previously. But I think that Sani and we've got a really great relationship in terms of pushing one another to be the best that we can, not only in games, just because we're competing for a limited amount of minutes, but also in practice. So I think that we're definitely going to be continuing that relationship, and I've never had a problem, I would say, in terms of sharing the crease. I think me and Janine had a really good thing going while she was still here, and I think that having that healthy relationship where it's competitive, but you still can support each other when the other is playing, it's crucial to what we have going on in the crease right now, and I don't see that changing anytime soon.
Bill?
Hi, I'm Bill Prout with Sunrise View. Just wondering, is there anything in particular that you've worked on in regards to improving your game since last year?
Yeah, I would say, I don't want to call myself too old. I am a super senior. So, the amount of on ice improvements at this point, I would say, there's not so many nagging things as a part of your game as much as it is just staying healthy at this point. And for me, I think a lot of that came in my off ice preparation, really focusing on a few areas of my strength game that I wanted to improve to help in terms of nagging injuries throughout the season that make it a little bit more difficult to stop pucks here and there. So I think that, I really focused on that over the summer in terms of working with our strength and conditioning coach, Jake, in terms of, just hopefully being able to have a complete season here and feel healthy while doing it.
Just as you mentioned there, more of a complete season, and you've obviously had a normal season in years previously, and then last couple, you've had changes. How important is it this year to get back to that normal routine?
Yeah, I think it's huge. Even just walking around campus, seeing people, it's a different feeling on campus, and it's a good feeling for sure. Looking at last year, I think the only people that we had here at St. Cloud were basically our student athletes. Most other people were at home. So it's good to be on campus, to have that normalcy, but also to be able to come to the rink every day and not have to, wonder quite as much if you're going to get shut down, the day after next because of positive testing. So I think that, we can be really grateful as a group in general. And in terms of looking at our team, I think that that's something that we all share right now, is a common gratefulness for being able to come to the rink every day. And it definitely helps in terms of giving you a reason to wake up in the morning and go to the rink.
And with that group, how does this team stack up and compare to your other years? What makes you excited about this St. Cloud squad?
Yeah, it's funny. Every team is different, I think, in terms of, just the first couple of weeks, how everybody, clicks together. And last year was definitely a little bit tougher because we weren't able to, be together away from the rink. And even at the rink, we were in pods. So it was hard for us to mesh as a team. Whereas this year, it seemed like everybody was excited to get back to campus. A lot of people wanted to get here early just to be with the girls and be able to start getting on the ice together and move towards a regular season. And I think that that's going to be one of the biggest strengths that we have right now as a group, is just our off-ice chemistry, and hoping to see that translate now as we transition more and more into on-ice practices together as a whole group with the coaching staff out there. I think it's really exciting. We've got a really good locker room at this point, and we're just hoping to be able to build on that. And I think that with that, we've got a group that, they're ready to take the next step.
Great. Do we have any final questions for Emma? Nope. All right. Thank you for your time today.
Awesome. Yeah.
Great chatting with you. Best of luck this season.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you to all of our media members for attending today's WCHA Media Day. There will be a recording of the entire Media Day session on our YouTube later this afternoon. Otherwise, feel free to reach out to myself, Jenna Jorgensen at the WCHA, or to the respective team SIDs. Enjoy your day and happy hockey season.